Okay, hello, my lovely ladies. Welcome back to the channel and welcome if this is your first time. Now, I said I was going to come back this week, and I am happy that I did because I do have a brand new topic to talk about with you ladies. Um, as you guys are coming in, I'm just kind of going to get the conversation started so then that way I can kind of like read all the things that I wanted to say in this video because I wrote everything down like I always do, because if I don't, then I'm just not going to get to it. But first things first, of course, I want to shout my course out to you ladies, because in this video, I'm going to be talking about the places you single women should be frequenting at to meet men. The number one place that I'm going to recommend is online because it just makes the whole experience even easier. And you really don't need to spend any money. You really don't need to do as much of anything other than preparing your profile online, which I help you with in this course. And hopefully, you ladies can get this course and get all the information that you need so you can really position yourself online to get the kind of man that you desire. So I'm going to just say it again. This course is jam-packed with all the information you will possibly need, including the sites to be on, including clothes to wear, conversations, how to do your makeup, where to buy some clothes, how to get the connection from online to in person. Post date, I talk about the differences of having a good date and a bad date. If you click the link, you will actually see the full curriculum in there, and you will see what each module is about. And that way you can get a full idea of what is actually given inside of that digital course. So check it out. It's definitely worth it. And yeah, okay. Now, to get into this video, where should single women be frequenting so she can meet men? This is a question that I get a lot because a lot of women want to, meet in person as well as meet online. I think you should. You should be doing both. As a single woman, I always tell you, ladies, you are in the perfect position because you are completely free. You don't have to check on anybody when you want to do something, when you want to travel, when you want to, I don't know, sleep in, do whatever you want. And it's when you do get married that, you have accountability. You have to, run things past one another. And this is your single time. So you have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want. And I want you ladies to be taking full advantage of that now, because like I said, it's not quite the same once you get married. I don't hate the fact that I can't do that now because I did it when I was single. So I want to make sure you ladies have those tools. So the number one thing that I'm going to tell you in all of this, and it applies to every single thing, is location. Location, location, location. This matters a lot. You need to be very, very mindful of the location, the neighborhood that you are in. So then all of these tips and tricks and everything matter and will make a difference. So if you live in a neighborhood where, there are, like my father-in-law would say, yuppies, urban, what is it? Young urban professional people, whatever the acronym means. If you're in that type of town where there are a lot of like professionals, people who are making like six figures and up, that is where you kind of want to stay, because that is where you're actually going to find more single bachelor type of men. Now, if you go to the like even more wealthier neighborhoods, it's not that you're not going to find these kind of men. It's just that they'll most likely be married, rather than these neighborhoods where it's like urban professionals that are more single and more into that scene. That's where you're going to find more single men and be able to connect with them even easier. Now, some of these places will be in very wealthy places, but those men go there as well. But I'm just saying, if you want to maximize your experience to meeting people in person, it's probably best to be in the neighborhoods that most of them will be. Now, for me, when I was single, I spent a lot of town. I spent a lot of time in downtown Los Angeles. Now, I don't like this place at all. I actually work downtown, but there were so many professionals. There's a lot of big law firms there. There's a lot of people that are traveling for business there. That there's a lot going on there with like professional men who live there because it's close to where they work, and also they travel there. So I did spend a lot of time down there. Again, I worked down there. So I would meet a bunch of men all the time. And I actually ended up becoming friends with a lot of these guys, these attorneys, these accountants, insurance people who were traveling there for business, who worked for big firms or just did like a lot of like professional things and had a lot of money. And I put myself in that position because when I was done with work, I didn't just like go home and call it a day. I actually went out, I sat at the bar, I mingled with these guys. And after a couple of times of talking to them and hanging out with them, then we became friends. And then, I was automatically put into this group of professionals who, whenever I was downtown, I can just call up and hang out with them. So that's what I want you ladies to think about is like, if you're in a place where a lot of professionals are there and like there's big law firms here, there's big insurance firm, whatever it could be, big financial firms, wherever you live, say Wall Street or anything, usually the downtown areas you will find a lot of the professionals there, and most of them will live there, so they will eat there, they will be there. So that is a clear cut easy way to do this, and I did this pretty much effortlessly because I was there all the time, and then I became friendly with those guys. And a lot of them, like some of them wanted to date me and stuff like that, but I was such an and like, I'm gonna be cool with everybody because I want to maximize my growth here and my friendships here with these guys, because this one was like a managing partner for some firm, this one was a consultant, this one owned a business down there. So like there was a lot of different kind of men that were all in this group, and I decided to befriend them just by sitting at the bar and talking to them. Because something that some people don't really understand is when you go to the bar, and some women know this just because they themselves don't really cook, but most men do not cook. And this is something you have to think of when you're dating and when you're outside. Most of these guys do not cook, and most of these guys are single and they don't cook, right? So where do you think that they're going to eat? Most of them, if they live in say like a downtown and stuff, they're not necessarily doing like big grocery shopping. They may go to the Whole Foods or the Sprouts or something like that, but they're not going to chef it up in their house. They're going to go to the restaurant like downstairs or the restaurant down the street. They're just going to walk over and eat every day at the same place that they like, or the same couple of places that they like. So with me, all I had to do was go to those places and sit at the bar, because that's where all the guys were doing that lived there, that were single. They would go eat lunch there, they would eat dinner there, they would do happy hour there, they would pregame there. So if it was a place that served breakfast, they would eat breakfast there. That's what they do, because if you think about it, it's not that expensive for them to just eat for themselves every day. That's not a big expense for a guy, right? They're not buying themselves like the biggest steak and the biggest lobster or whatever it is. They're just buying the meal that they like, right? So with my husband, he goes to the restaurant, and like there's a hotel next to his office, and he just goes to the restaurant in lobby in that hotel and sits at the bar. Sometimes he'll sit at the bar and he has breakfast there before he goes into the office. Like most men will do that. unless if I like make him breakfast, but that doesn't happen all the time. So he just goes, he's like, oh, I'll get it when I go into the office. And that's what most men think. My husband would tell me my husband does not cook at all. Like he does not cook at all. He's not good at it. And he tried. And after a couple attempts, I was like, all right, you're just not good. It's like a whole thing. So before I met him, he ate out like all the time. He went to the same couple of restaurants that he liked and he would go and eat there. Most men do that. So all you have to do is position yourself and be at that restaurant. You don't have to go all the time, but when you go, most of these guys know each other. They're going to be talking to each other and stuff like that. And they're going to see a beautiful woman like you. You're going to walk in, you don't have to be dressed like you're going to a ball or you're, dressed out to go somewhere, but like you dress nice. I think what I have on now, like a cardigan, I have some linen pants on and my hair is done, makeup's done. You can just come in looking nice and then you can just sit down and this is something that everybody does, but like you don't realize that this is how you get in with people. All you really have to do is when you're sitting there, people are talking, the guys are talking, people are talking. You want to make sure that you sit close to them, obviously. So don't try to sit all the way like away from like these guys, sit closer and ask them. If you're seeing like guys talking and stuff like that, all you have to do is pick a seat that's kind of next to them and ask like, oh, is anybody sitting here? And they would let you know like, oh my God, no, you can sit here, right? They'll see like, oh, she talked to us. Now is my opportunity to talk back. And then they kind of take full advantage of it. And then they'll start talking to you more. But even if you do that, say there is no seats next to them and you're kind of sitting closer, but not close enough where you can say, is anyone sitting here? You can easily just kind of like listen to the conversation that they're having. And most of the time, guys are making jokes and they might say something funny. And all you have to do is laugh. Like, all you have to do is like, and then one of the guys is going to realize that you're laughing, and then they're gonna kind of bring you into the conversation, like, "Oh, see, she's laughing." You can be like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just, And then they start bringing you into the conversation. So there is a lot of like ways to do that, especially when you're sitting at the bar and stuff like that. You can just easily like hop into people's conversations just by like eavesdropping a little, doing a little laugh, or asking, "Is anyone sitting here?" and kind of sitting close. And also men will talk to you if the bar is pretty dead and like you come in and you like, look at the bar and you see everybody and you smile, like you want to have a positive attitude. You don't want to be just sitting there on your phone like you're busy or you're waiting for someone. You just like come in with positive energy and then you're looking at the menu and then you can ask them, "Oh, what is that? What are you having?" Right? Like that kind of looks good. Like maybe I'll have that. When you're in your own vibe and you're just acting like a normal person, you will usually get the response of like conversation, and the guys will kind of take you in and talk to you, and they'll ask you more questions about yourself. Do you live in the neighborhood and stuff like that? Because that's pretty much what I did like my whole single life, is like I would go out, and I didn't purposely do it. Sometimes I did it just being me, and then that would happen and I'm like, hey, there's something to this. This always happens, and it's pretty easy to get these guys like to kind of bring you into their group. Next thing you know, they're paying for your food. Next thing you know, they're invited, asking if you want to do drinks with them, go to the next place with them. Or like, you guys end up being so cool after a couple times you see them, then you exchange numbers, and then they're like, hey, we're all going to such and such place, you want to go? So you kind of get introduced in that kind of way. And that's what you want. You want men around you who are not going to be complete creeps with you, and that you become friendlier with them, because those guys are going to be the ones who are going to like show up for you a lot. And this is important to have when you're single. You don't want to friend zone yourself with these guys completely. You still want them to like you, right? You still want all of them to be interested in you, but they are also interested in the friendship with you. So then that way they're continuously trying to invite you places, trying to see you, trying to invite your friends to places. This is kind of how you get that kind of energy. And also what I would do all the time is whenever I was downtown or felt like I was downtown, felt like I wanted to be downtown or in that area or any area with any guys that I did this with, whether it was Santa Monica, the South Bay, Beverly Hills, whatever neighborhood it was, because I did this in multiple neighborhoods, that was just gonna be like the easiest thing was to just hit up the guy and say, hey, like I'm in this neighborhood today, do you want to meet at the restaurant? And they usually will be like, hey, like yeah, like I'll be down there in this amount of time or whatever. And then they would be buying me food and stuff like that, and we'd just be hanging out, and there was actually no pressure to actually be dating anybody or doing anything with anybody. So just be mindful of that. Hi, Melissa. She says, do you think that's a little unsafe drinking with men if you're the only woman? How do you stay safe? So, you definitely don't want to be like drinking. I was talking more about like if you are going like for lunch and stuff like that, you will be eating. And if you're going out there, like you should know, like if you're only going to have one drink or if you don't drink at all. So, I don't drink. And before I stopped drinking completely, I never really drank anyways. So it wasn't necessarily about drinking. It was just about like they're drinking, but you're kind of like in the conversation and you're like, vibing out with them. And then they're just like ordering whatever you want. So it's kind of like that. So obviously you want to stay safe and you don't want to like get drunk because I talk about this a lot in the course, but like your whole thing of being outside and stuff like that, especially as grown women, as mature women, as I believe all of us are, you can't be getting drunk. You can't think like I'm going to go here and get wasted and trash because that's unsafe, but also it's a bad look on you because people who get drunk usually make a fool out of themselves, and that's not the purpose of this whole thing. And also, as you befriend these people, as you meet them, I always brought my friends with me. Like if I met them by myself and then like I was going to meet up with them again, I was going to bring my friends too. And it was always okay. It was always chill. Like there were so many times where it's like, oh, I'm hanging out with this person and I'll call my friend like, hey, you want to come down? Like I'm out here in such and such place, and they will come and we will all be hanging out. That usually happens. So as long as you know like yourself, if you're not going to be drinking like hard, and if you're going to drink at all, like you should be safe with that. And I'm not telling you to get a ride from them. I'm telling you this is just hanging out in the restaurant, talking to them and befriending them. Okay, makes sense. When they offer you a drink, what do you say? So if they say like, because some guys will be like, okay, you want to do shots or anything like that, you can easily say, oh, I don't do shots. Like, oh, I don't do that. And if you are drinking, like, say something a lot more light, like I suggest, like a wine or a champagne or something like that, you could say, well, I'm doing a champagne and I'm still working on it, but thank you so much. You can kind of move the conversation to kind of get off of like hard liquor or anything like that if that's not what you're doing. And I don't suggest that you do that. And also, usually they will kind of just like, oh, okay, you don't do shots and stuff like that, like that's fine, that's cool, they'll kind of move on from that, and you don't have to like really explain yourself. I think as a woman you have to remember that men usually respect the boundaries that you put. So if you say you don't do something, they usually will respect that and respect that you told them that, and they will move on from it and won't, try to do anything past that. If they're disrespectful and they have like different motives, then they might try to like, no, 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 do the shots, do the shots. Like, no, I actually don't do that. Like, no. But thank you though. But no, I don't do that. Like, I'm gonna just babysit my little drink right here and I'm good. Like, this is all I need. And you can say, oh, I'm a lightweight. No thanks. Like, you can make it like fun and cute, so then it's not like awkward and like, you feel weird about it. You can just like, make a little joke or kind of just brush it off. And that's it. And usually if you're sitting there, like these guys will adopt you. They will, if you keep it like one of them is going to like you, right? But it doesn't matter if one of them or two of them or all of them like you, they're going to see you as being cool. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, she's cool, whatever. And then they're going to start talking to you. And then they're going to make sure, like, men aren't, I know a lot of men are scary, but like some men, most of the men that I've met have been really cool and protective. And especially in these environments where they come there every day, they know the bartender, they know the people who work there, they know everybody, the manager, everything. And they're pretty much gonna keep coming here. So they're not going to make it awkward where they do something to you that's gonna get them kicked out and embarrassed. That's the thing. This is their place, and you're coming in and you're just like, here and being cool and friendly. So they're not really going to like mess with that. So you really don't have too much to worry about because they're there all the time. So it makes it a lot more easier. Okay. Now, moving on from the bars and stuff like that, because that's a often known fact about men. Like you can just always go there and you will, befriend people, talk to people, and just have conversations with people. And I'm not saying like the first day that's going to happen, but the more you go places that you actually like there's a couple restaurants that I go to all the time, like all the time. I go there no matter what. I'm hungry. It's just like the short list of restaurants that I go to. And sometimes I will, branch off and go to restaurants that I don't know. And then maybe I'll add it to the list. Maybe I won't. And when you find like the restaurants that you actually like, maybe you like to try new things, but we're doing this strategically. Find the places that you actually like and then start going to those restaurants only. And you're going to start seeing the people who do the same thing. Because, like I said, men do that all the time. Melissa says, yeah, I mean, when you're sitting at the bar, I usually order a drink and I know my limits. However, I have normalized sitting at the bar without ordering a alcoholic drink. That's new to me. Yeah, I mean, I do it all the time. I do it all the time. And the fun thing is they have mocktails. So that's always fun because people will think you're drinking and you're actually not. And I mean, there has been times where I was just at the bar by myself and I only talked to the bartender and the guy next to me started sparking up conversation. He was an older guy. I'm clearly married. I just finished shopping and then I went to the restaurant because I was hungry. And we started talking and chit-chatting and stuff like that. He saw my drink, it was a mocktail, and he didn't know it was a mocktail. He was just like, oh, that's a really, like we're talking so much that when he went, his friends had finally got there. And then when he went to leave, he was like, oh, next round's on me, and just like gave $20 like for the whatever drink I was going to have. Again, not knowing it was a mocktail, not knowing. So most of the time the guy would just say, oh, you want another one? Like, just get her another one. And they won't even know that you're not drinking if that feels like a little awkward to you, because the bartender will know what they gave you. And, it just makes it a lot more easier where you're not necessarily saying like, oh, I'm not drinking or anything like that. It would just be like, just get her another one. And, they won't even know that you're not drinking. So that's also like a fun little thing. And like I said, this happened to me even while I was married with my ring on and talked about my husband. And the guy still, like, because we were like just talking and vibing out, he still was like, hey, next round's on me. Like, and we were talking about business because he owned a business and stuff like that. But those things happen in those spaces, especially with regulars, because this is their place. This is where they come and eat all the time. They know the people who work there. So it becomes like a family kind of feeling, which you kind of want to happen, especially once you're like growing your network of men. Because when you're single, you need to have a rotation of men. You need to have men that you can use for specific reasons. Say these guys or this guy that I met in this neighborhood, he's a regular in this neighborhood. I'm going to use him every time I'm in this neighborhood. I'm going to call him up and he's going to make sure that I have a good night. He's going to make sure that everything that I want to eat, he's going to take care of. My friends are going to be good. This is going to be the vibe. I've had so many of those people just because I just was cool like that. Like you just, you're vibing out, you're talking to people, guys are so easy to be cool with. They're so easy because they make jokes with each other and all you have to do is laugh. And then they find that as an in. All you have to do if they're sitting somewhere, you're just like, oh, someone's sitting here. That's their in. They just looking for an in. And as soon as you give them like a little bit, and I know some women is like, you give them an inch, they take a mile. But like, if you keep it like you're a feminine, classy woman and you have your own boundaries and like you're not spending like bar hopping with them night after night. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna hang out here with you for this amount of time, and then I can like leave and do my own thing later, and then I'll see you again next time I come here. And then they know you, and then they feel like they know you. Girl, you're in and you're well taken care of. You can tell them anything and they will take care of it. You're to them like they got to help you, they got to do everything for you. It's amazing. Just try it out and you will see, like, wow, okay, that was easy. Because you have, as a woman, we have this naturally in us where we can attract men and get men to basically do what we want them to do, especially if we're not that interested in them, but they're interested in you. You can have them wrapped around your finger. Like these same guys that I was telling you about that I would hang out with, and they were all like downtown guys. They all live downtown. They work downtown. They worked at big firms and all this other stuff. These guys, I went to Malibu with them one time. Me and some of the girls went down to Malibu and we hung out for one of their birthdays and stuff like that. And then when we came back, I found out that every single guy liked me and every single guy wanted to get at me. I had no idea because they couldn't outwardly show me, but like deep down inside, they're like, I really like this girl, but they couldn't really show it. And that kind of put me in a position where I can get any of them to do anything for me. And it was practically like easy. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm in the neighborhood. You want to go do this? Yeah, sure, whatever you want. Oh, I need help with this, or my tire did this, or something happened with this. Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Guess what? I never went to their houses. I never like I hugged them before, but never kissed them, never had anything inappropriate done or anything like that, because the vibe entering wasn't like one on one, I'm trying to date you. You know, it was like, oh, you guys are cool, let's hang out. Right. So think of that, especially because that's very important in those like kind of settings. If you are meeting people at the bar, that you kind of set it up in that kind of way. Obviously, you will meet people at while you're out, and you might see them, you know, just one on one, and then you guys vibe out, and then they'll say, hey, do you just want to grab dinner together? And that's fine too. You can just grab dinner at the same restaurant, or, you know, a better restaurant, and, you know, meet them, talk to them, and get to know them a little more, and then go about your business. Like that's the kind of thing that happens while you're out and about doing your thing. So I want you to think that when you're in your own energy, when you're doing your own thing, these things are bound to happen to you because you're a beautiful woman. Like I said, you're not going to come like you're tired, like you're sleepy, like you just rolled out of bed. You're going to come awake, beautiful, smiling, ready for the day, like you have no worries. Even if you got 20 million worries in your mind about different things, that's not the energy we're giving, because we're trying to attract people. And that's something I want to emphasize on, is that you want to attract people, so your energy has to be right. This is a holistic experience, and you need to make people gravitate towards you. Okay, moving on from the bars, because that was a lot, but I'm happy I kind of broke that down for everybody. So another part about the neighborhoods matter so much. So you want to make sure, if you do not live in a neighborhood where there are, you know, wealthier people, like six-figure earners and up. Some people, like in the coastal cities, we you know, that's a normal amount of money. Like if a person makes 100,000, that's not that much money. If you live in like the coastal cities like Los Angeles, California, Seattle, like that's a normal rate. Where I know like more in like I don't know, Ohio, Tennessee, other places like that may be like, wow, that's a lot of money. But if you go in these places, like where the average income is probably like 300 plus, or whatever the number is for you. So if the number is 100 for you, then if you're in that neighborhood where most of the people make that kind of money, go stay in that neighborhood. If you don't live in that neighborhood, you either can move to that neighborhood, and, you know, even if the place is smaller, and you got to think about location. Like I remember there was like a question that someone posed to someone: would you rather live in a shack in a fancy neighborhood, or a mansion in a bad neighborhood? And the answer that the guy gave was, I'd rather live in a shack in a good neighborhood, because if I live in a mansion in a bad neighborhood, I'm most likely going to get hurt. and my house is not going to be worth that much. And that is actually a reality in Los Angeles. Like in my neighborhood, most of the houses here start at $1 million plus. And those are not the nice houses. Like if I went anywhere else in like a badder neighborhood and I had $1 million to drop on a house, trust and believe I'm getting a mansion. Here, if I got just $1 million and I dropped it on a house, I'm not going to get a house that I like. So just think of that, like of the neighborhood that you're in matters more even to what your house actually looks like, because it's going to be more valuable to you to be in that neighborhood rather than to be in a poorer neighborhood. And, some people don't have that option, but I'm just saying if you do have the option, choose for neighborhood, choose where you live for your neighborhood, because that matters. In LA, this is very, very prevalent. Everybody knows this. Like when I first moved here, I was living in North Hollywood and West Hollywood. And then I moved down to the South Bay because I realized with my personality, the kind of lifestyle I live, I'm more of a beach person. And I enjoyed the pace of Hollywood, West Hollywood and stuff like that. I liked, the scene. At that time I was partying a lot. I liked being in the scene. I liked being in Beverly Hills and everything like that. But as I got older and I started getting serious about what I actually like and the quality of life I actually wanted to have, I chose to live in the beach city, right? In a beach city, and live there. And now I live here, have a house here and a husband here and all that other stuff. So it worked out for me in that way because I wasn't thinking necessarily like, oh, I'll just live here. I was like, okay, what neighborhood do I actually want to live in? Where do I want to frequent at? So think about the neighborhood. So even if you don't live at the neighborhood, that's perfectly fine. Go to the neighborhood and do everything in that neighborhood. Everything you need to do it in that neighborhood. When you need to go grocery shopping, go to the Whole Foods in that neighborhood. I'm not telling you need to buy everything from Whole Foods if you're on a budget, but you should be going to Whole Foods for the important things. Say if you eat meat, get your meat from a quality place. If you eat vegetable, go to the places that are quality, because people think about quality once they become wealthy. They think about organic, they think about quality. So they're going to places like Sprouts, like Trader Joe's, like Whole Foods, like Gelson's, if that's in your neighborhood, or whatever grocery store is in the more wealthier neighborhoods. Go there all the time for your grocery shopping. You will start to see, okay, I'm seeing the same people. When you're out, smile, say hello, say good morning. Try to do your things earlier in the morning as well, because you will tend to see people who are, a lot more flexible in their schedule, which means they have a lot more wealth, and wealthier people get up earlier and do a lot more things. But do your things in the neighborhood. If you need to go to the bank, go to those banks. Even if you don't live there, live like you live there so you can actually meet the people who live there, and you can actually connect with the people who live there, and, meet some men and even women, meet friends, right? Another thing you can do to kind of tap into a neighborhood, even if you don't live there, you can easily go on their website and look up the different events that they have for the neighborhood. This is something I actually didn't know until I got married and moved to this neighborhood that I live in with my husband, because they have so many events. They are constantly having fundraisers, galas, events in the neighborhood, things to, raise money, because that's what most of these wealthy neighborhoods do. They raise money so they can put it in the neighborhood and, make it even better. So their school systems stay good. So, the policing, the new gravel on the ground, they invest into the neighborhood. So they hold a lot of events in these neighborhoods. So once you go on their website, you can actually see all the events that are coming up. So just last month, we had a 5K run, which after the 5K run, there was like a event after that. They had uh, a women's club event where there was like a dancing and food and everything like that for the women's club. The Rotary Club had an event. They had the gala for education, where they were raising funds for the school. There was something else for something else. They email us all this stuff, but these things continuously come up, and you will be surprised of how many events are actually going on in these neighborhoods that you can actually attend because you just pay the entry fee, which isn't usually that much money, and you can go in and start mingling and mixing with the people who are in that neighborhood. And if they ask you, like, oh, do you live in the neighborhood or something like that, you can easily say, oh, I don't live here, but I'm looking to move here. You can obviously tweak it to however you want to, but you can just say, like, oh, I'm looking to move here. I just wanted to check out this place, and I heard about this event, so I'm just coming in. You can say a bunch of things that can just give your reasoning of why you even know about this place, but you do love the neighborhood and you want to move here someday. And you can start talking, because at these events, these guys are chatty patty. They will have your ear all night long. They will talk, 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 talk all night long. They will be at your side, like you came with them. As soon as they know that you are single, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like at these events, like I usually go with my husband, but like sometimes I'll have my sister or somebody else with me, just to have another woman there with me, because like there are other women there in town that I do know, but like I just like to have my own friends and my own giggles and stuff like that. We will like be off to the side, and my husband's over, talking to other people, mingling or at the table or something, and we'll be like off to the side, just like, talking, looking at stuff. A guy always will come up and start talking us up and start talking about what he does, his business, the neighborhood, how he feels about this, how he feels about that. And it's just so interesting, because these people look at you and just is like, well, you're here. We're all here to talk and mingle. So that's a perfect opportunity for you to just easily talk to people, get to know people, because this is the time to talk and mingle at these events, along with networking events in these neighborhoods, because they do hold them. A lot of these neighborhoods all have chambers of commerce. So all the people who actually do business there are a part of that. And when they hold big events, you can go. Just look it up, be a part of the community that you actually want to be in, and just look on their website and then go to the event. Pay for the entry fee, and you're in, and you get to talk, and you get to be, part of the whole thing. So that is an easy way, a very, very easy way for you to get in and actually talk to people. Because I know, like, sometimes when you just go out and about in the neighborhood, you don't really get to talk to people, because if you're grocery shopping or something like that, you're there to grocery shop and they're there to grocery shop. But if you go to their events, which it's open to the public, all you go is on their website. If you go type in the neighborhood, they have a website. Every neighborhood has a website, and you will see all of the events that are going on in that website. And most people who have money at these events, they are invited to come because they want them to, bring money, and they will go to those events. You will talk to them, you will meet them, you will see the sponsors to those events. You will just kind of get your foot in there and start talking to people, and start building up your resume, I would say, of events and men and stuff like that. So along with all of that, fundraisers, I have galas, fundraisers, sporting events. This is also a big one. You can look up like sporting events that men are interested in, not like basketball or baseball or football or anything like that, because that kind of is too much. They get too much into the sport and they're looking for that. But if you're thinking golf, if you're thinking like racing, like track racing or something, like a horse track race, what did they have? What is that called? They had like the Kentucky Derby or whatever doing that. Events like that, where a lot of people go to these things and they are watching what's happening, but they're also pretty much mingling. Go to those things. Also, you want to go to car shows. That's like a sporting event kind of, but it's a car show. So I know Porsche has car shows. There's like old school car show. There's like different types of car shows that are always happening, and you can just find those easily and go to those events, get to talking to the people there, get to mingling, and you're in. That simple. Okay. All right. Another easy thing, obviously, you can always join a good gym. This is really like the easiest thing. I go to the gym every day, basically. No, I go to the gym about 6 times, well, 5 to 6 times a week. It depends on my workout split for the week. But if you if you go to the gym, this is probably the easiest way to spark up conversation with people because people are very friendly at the gym. Now, me, when I used to go to the gym, like a couple years ago, like before 2020, I wasn't the talking type at the gym. I would just focus on my workout, headphones. I would, but I really didn't talk to anybody. Now, me at the gym, I am my husband because we go to the gym together. He knows, like, if he sees me talking too long, he's like, get back to your workout. Like, I chat it up. I chat with people because there's so many people there, right? And I made friends at the gym, and I'm cool with the gym bros in there and the guys. And like, we see each other, we ask what we're working on today. We talk about, like, oh, what's going on in the world. Like, you can easily befriend people at the gym, especially these guys at the gym. And all you really have to do is ask them for help. All you have to do is like, I remember the first conversation I had with these guys, and this was not intentional. I wasn't intentionally trying to talk to them because, like I said, my husband comes in the gym. I don't really need to like intentionally try to talk to men because I'm not at that point in my life yet. But I asked one of the guys, hey, can you get like there was a resistance band that was like tied up on the top of like the pull-up bar, and I'm only 5'3.5", and I couldn't reach up there. And I asked the guy who was next to me if he can like grab the resistance band for me. And then he did. And I'm like, oh, thank you. When I saw him the next day, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Okay. Saw him the next day. Hey, what's up? What are you working on today? Like, just start talking. Saw him the next day. Oh, you going hard. Like, that's what's up. Da-da-da. You start talking to people. You start becoming friendly with people. Then, once you're working out so long talking to them, you guys start talking about more things and more things and more things. And next thing you know, this gym bro is your homie, or even more than that if you want it to be. Very, very, very easy. My gym is pretty much like all there's so much going on there. So there are some guys who just go and play basketball, and you can easily talk to those guys. There's guys in the weight room that are, lifting and stuff, and they're really friendly. Like, and it's not like big buff steroid looking guys either, if that's not what you're into. Like, all shapes are in there. But most of these guys are just in there and they're friendly. And I go pretty early. I get up like at 5 a.m. I'm at the gym probably by 6, sometimes give or take. And we're there pretty early. And these guys, friendliest guys ever. Talk to them at the gym. Some of them are married, some of them are not married. Easy way to like get them. And I know, like, in the back of their mind, if I was not married, they would be interested in. But yeah, that's all I need to say. You can definitely get somebody at the gym. If you don't see anybody at your gym that you're interested in because you don't go to a good gym, or the gym is not in like the ideal location, it's pretty cheap or anything like that, I would change gyms. If you go to a gym that is like Planet Fitness, there's nothing wrong with Planet Fitness. I've been to Planet Fitness before. They have the equipment, use the equipment. But if you're being strategic to meet people, to get your network up so you can have like leveled up men, like good provider type, generous, wealthy kind of men, you need to level up your gym experience as well, because they're in the gym. They take fitness very seriously. I have yet to meet a successful well, I have, but most successful men, they do take fitness seriously, whether they're in the gym or they do some type of fitness outside of the gym. So you want to make sure that you're actually, putting yourself in these kind of gyms. So if it's a higher premium, decide for yourself if it's worth it. Obviously, take advantage of their free trial periods and go and check out the gym. And if you see, okay, this is a quality gym, this is where I can meet more people, talk to more people, then join. They have country clubs that you can join. Those are obviously a little more expensive. I think like ours is like $25,000 deposit or something like that. They're pretty ridiculous, but you do get the opportunity to like golf and be part of this country club and meet people. There are so many people that I know that join yacht clubs, and they go there and they mix and mingle with people over there. So whatever it is, you can invest. You don't have to do this. Obviously, if you don't have the budget for it, I really wouldn't advise to do it. But if you can just kind of get a little trial in, or have a friend that's involved in one of these clubs and they just bring you along, perfect, because they usually, you can bring a friend all the time, so you can just kind of set yourself up like where you want to be, because you want, like, it's all about strategy. Like, it's never think that, you are going to just be like, okay, i'm not gonna I'm not gonna try. Like, no, that you have to be strategic. You have to be strategic. It's just not going to fall in your lap. You need to think like a strategic person and say, I'm going to position myself in this place, because this is exactly what I did, and it worked out in my favor by being strategic. I did not frequent in places that weren't going to give me the quality of men that I was interested in. When I moved to Los Angeles, I knew a couple things, but I knew this one thing about dating. I knew I was no longer going to date men who weren't wealthy. I just knew that. I was like, I'm not going to do it, because there are so many wealthy people here. It's very clear, there are very poor, destitute people here, but there are very wealthy people here. And I was like, oh, then I have two options. I can date poor and I can date rich, and I'm going to date rich. That was my mindset. I was like, I'm only going to date rich. I'm only going to date certain type of men, no matter what. So every guy that I've dated in Los Angeles was a wealthy guy, was a professional, successful guy, which had some prestige to him. He had a prestigious career, prestigious business. He owned this property, this house, whatever it could be. That was my mindset, because I was like, I had the option. And as a woman, every woman has that option. You can be the woman that says, hey, you know what? I'm just going to see whoever I love. It doesn't matter what they have. It doesn't matter what they can provide me. It doesn't matter the lifestyle that they live. Me, on the other hand, I'm a Capricorn. I don't think like that. I need things to look a certain way so I can enjoy my life. I'm not saying like this is all Capricorns, but all Capricorns have a little bit of elitism, whatever the word is for that. We all have that in our minds. And we all want to live a certain type of lifestyle. This is what a psychic told me. So I'm just relaying what he told me. But that was my mindset. And that is how I continued to date. And these are the things that I did to actually get that. I go to a gym full of handsome young men, but I only go for yoga classes. I don't get into the weight room. I'm not interested in young, handsome men, but I practice asking for help. But I can practice asking for help at my gym. Yes. And it depends on what time you go to, because if you go later, you're going to see the younger, handsome type of guy, because that's the time they go. But if you go early, like early, then you're going to see the older, more distinguished men who are there. They wake up and go work out and get it out the way. And it's not necessarily about aesthetics for them. I know this because this is the time I go to the gym, and I barely see any like young, handsome men, unless they're like playing basketball or, doing something a little earlier. Sometimes I'll see like younger guys, but it's very minimal. Like the older guys really are there in the morning. So depending on what time you go. And again, like you said, it's just also for practice. So you can get to chatting. And, the thing with the gym is interesting, because if you talk to one gym bro, like one of the guys that's cool with other guys, if they see you talking to one of them, then the next day or that day or whatever time you go, they're going to start talking to you because they know you talked to one of their friends. So now you're going to get like, this is the thing, you kind of want to get this adoption thing happening where the men around you then like, oh yeah, you, what's up? Da-da-da. And they like kind of take you in, and like you build up your network of people that and they will consider you for, like when they see you and say, oh, hey, what's up? That's how you like build up the people that you know. And again, with the older men, especially, the more distinguished older men, and if you're a beautiful younger woman, they will compliment you at the gym, and they will say like, hey, like this older guy today, one of my friends who goes to the gym, he always sees us like chatting and talking and stuff. Like I said, I'm a chatty patty at the gym. So me and her, like, we'll be on the Stairmaster and we'll just be chatting it up. And then he's like, oh, like I see your friend. She's like over there or whatever. And like, she's going hard. And this guy's like 50. And he's like talking. He's like, you guys are always going so hard at the gym. Like, like we're talking it up and chatting it up. And I'm like, okay, like like if anybody was interested in this guy, he's not bad looking. He's, thing, but that's just how older men are. They'll start seeing you and then they'll like say, oh, your friend is over there and blah, 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 blah. So people at the gym are friendly. It's very, very easy to talk to them. And I used to be that girl too. Like I would only take classes or I would just be a cardio bunny and then I would do weights, but I would just go in the smaller room. And then this year, I really wanted to work on my fitness in a more elite way. And so I started training in a bodybuilder kind of method with a bikini competitor. And she really built up my confidence. And that kind of actually made me want to come out with courses because I was like, wow, you can, like, her training actually built me up confidence where now I'm in the gym and I'm like in the weight room with the big boys and I'm killing it. And like, they respect me and like, I understand what I'm doing. I'm training properly, but like not getting big, getting too big. Like my mind is clear. And I saw like just with like guidance, you can actually accomplish like what you want. So that's why I actually came out with my course, The Feminine Way to Date Online. If you ladies want, it's in the comments and every stuff. Anyways, so definitely you want to kind of just talk to people and stuff like that at the gym. Okay. Another thing, let's see. Okay, yacht clubs. And then, okay, so with classes, say if you're not good at something, if you want to learn, take classes. This is something you can easily do. Like I had to take classes while I was learning to play golf because I wanted to learn the game. I wanted to know like the do's and don'ts and all that other stuff. Taking classes. You're going to take a class. Maybe it'll be a guy, hopefully. And you'll get to talking to him. He'll tell you more about everything you need to know at the place. You guys get to chatting. You're going to know if the guy's married, if he's doing this, what's going on. I'm not telling you need to date that guy, but that guy knows other people. And once you know that person that's doing the training in whatever facility, whether you play tennis, whether you do this or do that, then you start seeing them and then you start saying hi to them and they could be talking to other people. Like people will start to know you just because you know other people. And that's how you get like in good with other people, is by knowing other people, right? And then they invite you to things and then, you grow your network in that way. So the mindset of when you're going out shouldn't necessarily be, I'm just going to find a man. It's about growing your network, growing the people who know you and who will befriend you and who you will befriend, and nurturing those relationships. And then you'll see more naturally, you're going to find more men who are interested in you and want to talk to you, and you can like build on top of that. So if you go in with that kind of mindset, it takes the pressure off. You're not necessarily going out there feeling like, oh, I want to meet someone, or where's the guys here, or whatever the situation is. All you really have to do is put yourself in the position where it's like, oh, I'm just expanding my network. I'm just meeting people. And there were so many women that I knew, especially when I was just out here younger in LA, that just did that. They were out all the time. And it wasn't necessarily that they just couldn't be home or whatever. They just wanted to grow their network. They wanted to know more people. And I had that little bug in me too, where I was at that point in my life where I was going to go out and I was going to meet people regardless. Like I didn't care. Like I would befriend so many people. Like I had like one gay friend that I became friends with, and he was awesome. He was great. I love seeing gays because they like come up to you. Like if you're beautiful, girl, they will come up to you, start talking to you, start chatting with you. And gay people have a network, like especially if you're in the right settings, they know everybody. And if they like you, you're invited everywhere. Like it's not a game. This guy took me everywhere. Like it's like, oh, my friend whose house is in Beverly Hills, and he lives in the hills. We're gonna go there this evening. They're doing like a little cookout thing, like whatever. And I was like, he was like, but you're vegan, right? You don't eat meat, so I'm gonna let him know. He's gonna get you some girl, everything that I needed, this guy had it. He's like, we're gonna go to this event. It's taken care. How do I don't know how the gays get around to know everything, but that's so easy to befriend them just by going outside, looking good, and then being in these places because that's where they are. That's what they're doing. And they love beautiful women because they like to be around beautiful women. And like if your energy is good and stuff like that, they will take you under their wing along with other women who aren't haters, because obviously you're going to find some women that are just, catty. They don't like you for no reason and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, you're probably going to meet women who are really cool as well, especially when you're out and about. They start talking, you start talking, they will compliment you on something, you can compliment them on something, and then you girls will start talking. That's an easy way as well, because if they know people, especially at the place that you are, that's an easy introduction. So you actually want to use the people around you as well, your network, your friends, with people that like women or gay men, or just people who you're clearly not going to date. Use them to get you to meet more people, because they throw events, they know events, they're going to invite you, they're going to invite their other friends. And if these people are quality people, they know other quality people, then you're in. Then that's how you build up, your in-person dating. Because like I said, you can do this all and be online as well, and then you're best of both worlds. This is what I did, and it ended up working out for me. Now, I was dating online, and I was obviously open to dating in person as well. And I met my husband dating, like just being in person. But I feel like that was what made the energy good, because I was like, it's like I'm everywhere and I'm open to any options to come to me. And I think that's important for everybody, especially when you're just single, is that you want the options to open up to you in any kind of way, because we manifest relationships and marriage and stuff like that, and those things are coming to you, but you don't know how it's going to get there, and you shouldn't limit to how it's going to get there, because some people are like, well, no, I want to meet my person in person. And then some people was like, no, I'm going to meet my person online. And the reality of it is like, why even limit yourself? Why even make it like a limited thing where you have to meet them in person or you have to meet them online? How about you put yourself out there and allow whoever's going to come to you, and may the best man win? Because again, you ladies know, I believe in allowing the best man to win. So I'm going to date the people who are interested in me, and then choose the person that I'm actually going to end up with against the people who are dating me, who are interested in me. So I'm not going to just make any rash decisions. I'm not going to just be so rigid, like it has to look like this, it has to be like that. So yeah, I definitely think that it's important for you ladies to just think about those things while you're dating, and where you're putting yourself at, to really think like, I'm building my network, I'm growing my network of people that I know. And that way you can actually start to get quality connections, quality people who you don't even have to have pressure to be anything with, and they don't have that pressure. Even if they're interested in you and you're not interested in them, that let me tell you this, that happened to me probably the entire time I was dating, especially when I I was in like my downtown mode, when I was in that neighborhood, because I worked there. And with those guys, like literally, I was interested in like none of them, and they were all interested in me. And I would like try to hook them up with like my friends, and they would just kind of like be like, "Oh yeah, I'll talk to her, whatever," and kind of like whatever, just because I was like, oh, "Okay, let me give them somebody, right?" And she likes him. Let me hook them up, whatever. But at that point, I was like, wow, there's something to this, because these guys all apparently like me, but I kind of friend zone them, but not in a way where it was like, clearly you're a friend zone because I hung out with you. I asked, I, well, maybe they did feel like, well, they really didn't know. Like, it took another lady. I'll tell you this quick story, and then I kind of get out of here. But if you ladies have any questions, just put them in. Catherine says, "Hey girl, be an elegant chatty patty, 100%. Be an elegant chatty patty. These guys love it because they're chatty patties, and if they see that you're vibing with them and talking with them, girl, they got you're in. Agreed. Okay, okay. I'll tell you this quick question thing, but leave your questions down below, and I will start answering. If you ladies have any questions or anything you want to say, you can just put it in. But I'm gonna tell you this quick little story. Okay, so wow, did I lose it? Oh, did I lose my train of thought? I had this story to share. Oh, okay, I got it. So like I said, I would hang out with these group of guys in downtown, right? And it wasn't just like guys, there were women there, but like there were like the main guys who were always out all the time. And I just finished working and my sister was down there and my sister went to this other new restaurant with them. It was her, two of the guys and a Russian lady, and they went to this restaurant and they were going to wait for me there once I left work and I was going to meet them there. And one of the guys was dating the Russian girl and the other guy, well, they weren't really dating. They were like kind of dating, but they lived in the same building. So like they weren't really like dating, but they would hang out or whatever. And the one of the guys, he really liked me and he was there and I guess he was asking my sister about me or something like that. And the Russian lady who I know her and, was cool with her, she just told him, she was like, "She does not like you." And then and then my sister was like, "Oh my God." And because she was drunk at this point, the Russian lady was really drunk. And she was like, "She does not like you." Anytime, because she knew me. And she was like, "Anytime you try to hang out with her, she always makes it a group date. Like she does not like you." He wasn't putting this together in his head. She kind of blew up my spot, but whatever. And she blew up my sister's spot too. But again, she was drunk. She actually ended up, well, I'll just finish the story. She ended up telling him like she doesn't like you like that. Like you need to wake up. Like it's not gonna happen. And then he was just like kind of like, oh, whatever. And then she switched it on the guy who she was dating. And then she was just like, no, he had said like, "Oh, that's rude. Like, why would you say that to her?" And then she was like, "What?" And then she goes off on this guy. And then when I get there, finally, it's like awkward, weird. And I get there to the restaurant. I'm like, "Oh my God, this place is so cute." My sister's like, "Oh, let me show you around like the new restaurant and stuff like that." And so I'm looking around and then and she tells me when we go to like the back room, and she's like, "Oh my God, like the Russian lady went off on the guys." And I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." And then I get back there, and then the guy is like that she's dating, which is also my friend. She's just like they're arguing, and then he like gets up and like says something and then storms out of there like pissed. I've never seen him like this. This guy is like a managing partner in a law firm, a big law firm. Like I've never seen him out of character, because he's usually like serious. I see him when he goes to meet, like he's a very serious guy. Obviously, if you're a managing partner of a big law firm, you're a serious person. He goes off and then leaves. And she's there and she's still drunk. And then his friend, which is the guy that likes me, he's like, then he starts like, defending his friend. And then she was like, "Whatever, I'm gone." And she leaves. And then like, I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what's going on? Like, and then he was like, nothing, like, she's just drunk or whatever and stuff like that. And my sister kind of was there, and then like we ended up hanging out, but then like me and my sister had left and like we all parted ways. And she was like, she had blew up your spot and he doesn't even want to believe it. Like he didn't even tell you what happened. He didn't change his energy. Like he's like, "I don't believe it." Like he didn't want to register that she was right in saying like she doesn't like you and you're wasting your time, because literally he's still hitting me up, trying to take me places, trying to do nice things, want me gifts, everything like that. And I was just being cool and being chill. And literally, I think we stopped talking like after the pandemic. Like I think even after the pandemic, we ended up like stop talking because I just stopped going downtown. And he came down to the South Bay a couple of times just because he had business down here. But like I kind of just was like, phase it out because I was never really interested in him. And he just wasn't, nothing really wrong with him, but he just really wasn't like someone that I wanted to be with. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole experience. But I'm just saying, like, most of these guys, if they like you and like you keep your vibe good and you keep like a chill vibe to you, I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything and you will have them like doing everything for you with no issues. And that's what you want. As a single woman, I made a video about this. I think the cheat code as a single woman, you want men in your life that are going to help you. You're a single woman. You need help to do things. You don't need to do everything on your own. This independent woman thing is going to kill you because women get stressed out so easily. And there's so much that we deal with internally that the last thing we need is for the world to take care of. So honestly, take care of yourself, build up your network, have these guys like look out for you, do nice things for you. And yes, be safe, but you also need to open yourself up so you can get people to do things for you and be nice to you and look out for you, invite you places, make sure that you're good. Anything you need handled, they can help you with it. That's what men are here to do for you. They're here to help you. And if you have that mindset, like, okay, these guys are here to help me. I'm gonna get princess treatment from all these guys. I'll tell you another thing. If you actually stand in your womanhood, in your princesshood, in your goddesshood, you can have men do whatever you want. Like another time, I'll tell you this another quick story and then I'll leave if there's no questions. Another time I went out with my friend and she was like, okay, my friends from I don't know where they were from, but they were like trying to sell a movie to one of the studios out here. So they were visiting. And she was like, oh, like we're gonna meet up with them and like, we'll just hang out because they're just visiting. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. And we go and we hang out with them and they were all really cool, just meeting them, talking to them. We went to like a I would say like a speakeasy type of style place, and that was cool. We got to know each other even more, and it was cool. Like the vibes were there, like we were all having fun. And then we went to like a after hour spot to hang out. And as soon as we get there, my feet were done. We're done because the whole night I was on my feet. I had on like high heels on, but by the time we got to this after hour spot, my feet were done. And I was like, okay, we got to the after hour spot. The guy had just bought us all drinks. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I gotta go. And he was like, oh my God, like, what's wrong? All the guys was asking, like, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Because I was like, oh, I gotta go. Like, my feet are done. Like, I can't feel my feet. They're numb. Like, they hurt. I can't take another step. Like, I've been wearing heels for too long, like all day. And they were like, oh no, like, wait, can we just finish this one drink? And I was like, I can't do nothing. Like, I'm done. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the restroom, but then I'm done. And then the guy's like, okay, let me take you to the restroom. And then so like he goes and like waits for me outside the restroom and stuff like that. And then he's like, how you feeling now? When I came out, I was like, no, I still want to go. And then they were like, okay, guys, we're gonna leave. They didn't have to do that. I could have just left, on my own, take a Uber, went back to my car. Like I was fine with just leaving, right? And they were like, no, we're all gonna leave. We all came here together. Let's leave together. And then like one of the guys, like when we got back, because they were staying at this hotel. And then when we got back, he was like, do you want me to like when we were in the car going back to the hotel and so I can get my car and go, he was like, do you want me to massage your feet? Like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry, stuff like that. And I'm like, no. Like, but in my head, I'm like, wait, hold on. These guys are like busting backwards to make sure I'm good. Like, you need anything else? Like, are you good? Are you made sure you're fine and stuff like that? And I'm just like, oh my, like these guys are doing everything to make sure that I'm good. Cause I was like, yo, my feet are killing me and stuff like that. Long story short, well, moral of the story, not long story short, because I told the story. I ended up going home and everything like that. But the moral of the story is as soon as I placed like this is my discomfort, I don't want to do this. The men came together and once they knew, like, oh, she doesn't want to do this. Okay, party's done. We gotta go. That's what men do. They usually will come through for you once you place the boundaries. So, like I said, for the ladies who don't like driving on dates and want to get an Uber, like the guy to send you an Uber, tell him, I don't drive at night. That's something I do not do. That guy will handle it. No problem. I will send you an Uber. I'll pick you up. Whatever you need me to do, I will do. that's how men react to women, especially when women put their foot down. So I want you ladies to think about that as well while you're doing all these things, that you do have your boundaries, that you're not just, accepting things willy-nilly. And like we said earlier, be safe. While you're out here, while you're mingling, while you're, mixing up with people. And this is why I think it's best to be in more of a friendly energy, just to keep your safety together. But be safe, be smart. You guys are intelligent, have your confidence, and everything I told you to do, look good doing it. Do not go into these neighborhoods looking raggedy, not having your hair done, not having, like, it doesn't have to be full on done. I told you ladies this, just well enough good. Don't look like you rolled out of bed, basically. Put some effort into it. When you are working out or going to the gym, you want to make sure that you have on like nice workout clothes. Like, we all know what nice workout clothes are. There are so many brands. They're on, and Amazon has like dupes of every brand. I love like Aloe. I have so many aloe pieces now. Some people love Lululemon. I like Lululemon. I just don't have any other pieces because I just got the dupes on Amazon because they are literally look the same way. But any style that you like of workout gear, invest in it, because a lot of people like to wear workout gear. I know, in America, people wear their active wear outside. Make it look good. So if you're in the gym, don't just wear like a big t-shirt and pants or whatever. Just like get a cute outfit together, get a cute little jacket together. Be cute, get a cute little visor if you're, playing golf or tennis or something like that. Wear cute outfits so you can also get that, cute attention, and other people, other women will compliment you, which will then, bring up your energy, because you feed off of these compliments as well. Like, it's not just a compliment and that's it. Like, oh, if someone tells you, oh my god, I love the way you look today, like, you look amazing, girl, you're going to be walking around like that girl who looks amazing. Your energy is going to be up. So, look good, be friendly, have positive energy. If you're not feeling good that day, like your energy is completely off, I would much rather you stay home and reset than go outside and infect people with your negative energy. And when you're talking to people, don't tell them your sad story. Nobody wants to hear it. People want to hear positivity. They don't want to hear you, debating them about politics, religion, or anything like that. I know that's old school because now everybody talks about politics and religion and all that stuff, but keep it classy, ladies. Have like vibrant conversations and you'll be good. You will be good, and you will experience life so much easier once you have, your roster of men, your network of men. I'll say network because it's not necessarily the roster, because we're not dating that and all these people, where we have them in our life to help us. And that's very, very important. That is important as a woman, to have a network of men who you can count on, because these guys, you can count on them. And I know that's not the popular thing to say in these day and age, but if you believe you can't count on any man, then you're never going to be able to. But if you do believe that you can count on a man, say, I'm not saying every man, but you can count on men, some men, then, and more men than not, then you need to believe that so that can start happening in your life. But again, I have my feminine way of dating online course, and that way, all the tips and tricks and everything I put in that course, you're also going to be able to use that in the day-to-day world. Like, really, everything I put in that course, aside from like the profile stuff, the dating app stuff, how to choose the guy. Well, you can even use my tactics of how to choose the guy in the dating app, of how to choose the men in real life as well. So you can use that to have both, because I do think you need to have both. Like, I'm not part of the times where it's like you need to meet the person in person. I don't think that that's viable to only do that in this day and age, especially now that we're connected to technology even more, where we have more access to one another even more, that you can actually just go in a neighborhood, swipe, see a person, like them, have a conversation with them, they take you on a date, you can build a relationship. Like, that's how easy it could be. Like, you don't have to grow up with this person, your whole entire life, and then maybe you marry them someday. That's not the world we're living in. We live in the modern times, and online dating is modern. That is where we're at right now. And in this video, in the course, I actually show you all the tips and tricks that you need to know so you can actually snag some quality people. And actually, I went swiping there. Like, I actually did the work with you for you guys so I can show you. I was swiping and they were, the people in my neighborhood and stuff like that. And I was showing you, this is the guy you choose. This is why we're not choosing him. This, and there was some value. Well, obviously I live in a pretty good neighborhood, so the guys were value, but you will see, like, dang, she gave us every little thing. So definitely get the course if you can. Another thing I want to talk about the course that I just recently found out because of one of my subscribers. Shout out to you. Let me know that on the payment plan, because there is a payment plan option on there, with that buy now pay later, like Klarna Afterpay, Affirm. Unfortunately, that only works for people in the US, where you can kind of split up the payments. And because she was not located in the US, it did not work. I reached out to the support team and they let me know, unfortunately, it's only available to the people in the US. But if you are in the US and you're on a budget and you need to, like, kind of break down the payments, that's also available to you. And like I said, I already made it pretty affordable. So breaking it down makes it even more affordable. So just wanted to let you know that. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't see any more questions. Um, oh, I didn't tell you another thing. It's a little okay. Before we go, because I don't want to leave anything out and then I have to come back, and say it in another bit. I don't know. Another thing, this is what I'll leave you with, is traveling. A huge way to meet people, build your network, is traveling, is meeting people while you're traveling. I've met so many people just by traveling, or them traveling to where I am, and not, just meeting people. Because when you're in your travel energy, when you're on vacation, holiday, whatever, you are in a different kind of energy. You're not thinking about work. You're thinking about having a good time. Your vibes are positive. They're good. So you attract people more easily. You actually meet more people and you expand your horizons. So when you travel to a certain place, and say like Mexico or something, you're going to meet people who are from Canada. You're going to meet the people who are from, New York. You're going to meet people from all over the place, because a lot of people will be traveling, right? You're going to build up your network of people that you're going to know. And especially if you're traveling and you're staying somewhere nice, which I suggest, I mean, obviously for your safety, you want to stay somewhere nice. But if you are single, I think it's important when you travel that you do like the hotel experience. I know Airbnb is, popular and everything like that. But for me personally, nothing beats the hotel experience, where, they housekeeping, you get like the lot, like you get to actually connect with people who are also staying there. Whereas though, if you're just in an Airbnb, it's just like you don't know anybody there, and like you got to go to these hotels or to these beach clubs or to these places. And if you're single, like you want to, and you're traveling alone, you want to make sure your safety. So staying at Airbnb doesn't, give you that much safety. There's really no cameras, there's no front desk, there's nothing like that. But if you're at a hotel, it's more safe, and you meet people who are also traveling at that hotel. And so you get to meet them, you get to mingle, and you get to talk to them, and you build up that network. And traveling, that energy you have from traveling, use that energy when you're back home. Use that energy, just like me and my friends would always say this, is like, we're going out tonight and we're going to act like we're just visiting this town. Like, we don't even live here. And we would tell people like, oh, we're not from here. We don't live here. Even though we've been living in LA for like 5 years at that point. And it was like, no, just say you don't live here. Like, we don't live here. And literally, like, people started taking us under their wing. The guys was like, oh, we got your dinner, we got everything for you. So like, have fun like that. You don't have to necessarily say that, but like, have the energy of that. Have the energy of like, I'm on vacation, I'm having fun. And you will see, like, you attract so many people just by having that kind of energy. And a lot of my clients who I do one-on-one goddess check-ins with, they always like say like, oh, I just kind of moved here a year ago or something like that. I was like, girl, if you don't use that to your advantage, every guy you meet, you need to say, I just moved here. I don't know anything. Show me this place. I never been here before. Like, even if you've been there before, act like you've never been there, because guys jump at the opportunity to try to show you something new. They're like, oh, she doesn't know, so let me show her, let me flex for her, let me show her what I know, let me, take her to this place or this place. Like, you never been there, I'll take you. That's what they do. So just think of that. And yeah, enjoy your dating life, your single life. Like I always say, this is your time to have fun as a single woman. Be safe, grow your network, and you will get the experience that you desire. And it's important you get this experience, because you don't want to, when you're married, it's a completely different experience, and you want to make sure that you make the right decision of the person you're going to marry. So then that way you don't have any regrets, and you don't feel like, oh my God, I didn't choose the right person. No, you chose the right person because you've dated, you've had a network, you talk to people, like, men, you experience men, about men. Because actually, the more you hang out with guys, the more, they treating you like a princess, they're giving you princess treatment. You start to understand men and their psychology, and you actually end up getting more from them just by being what I'm telling you to be. So that's basically it. I see there's no more questions. I'm not going to look anymore at my notebook, because I'm pretty sure there's something other things that I've said, but I've been on here long enough. So yes, definitely check out the course. I have it linked in the description, and it's also pinned, I think, to the chat. Okay, ladies, I will see you. Maybe I'll come on tomorrow. If you have any topics that you want me to discuss or anything, you can always leave it in the comment section, and I will obviously respond or make a video to it. All right. I will see you. I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, but I'm going to be here often. So yeah, you'll see me when you see me. Bye.